Hi there. For the last almost 2 years, I've been working on creating a healthy natural pond. My goal is to keep the water clean through natural processes and manually skimming with a net, instead of buying a filtration system or adding chemicals to control the algae. The pond is home to about 10 goldfish and is a popular hangout for birds and other wildlife. The water is kept fairly clean, but the pond still has occasional algae blooms, which cloud the water and can be potentially harmful to the fish. To further improve water quality, one option I learned about on the OzPonds YouTube channel is a bog filter. In nature, bogs and wetlands clean and clarify vast amounts of water, which a bog filter aims to mimic on a smaller scale. I built this filter by filling a wine barrel with rocks and plants that will house helpful bacteria, which break down ammonia and nitrite into nitrate, which the pond plants can use as fertilizer instead of the algae. To set up a bog filter, you need a container which is above the water level of the pond. First, water is pumped through a pipe into the bottom of the container. It then slowly rises up through progressively smaller rocks which provide a wet surface for bacteria. At the top of the container, water enters the overflow pipe and the water flows back into the pond. Hopefully cleaner, but we'll have to see. To start, I found a wine barrel on Craigslist and plugged up the bunghole. First, I drilled a large hole in the top of the barrel for the overflow pipe and added this rubber seal. I also added the same sized hole and seal at the bottom for a drainage pipe, which I'll use once or twice a year to flush debris out of the filter. I cut off the top and discovered the inside of the barrel is this rich purple color, which was a fun surprise. I had a friend help me move the barrel to a cement base next to the pond behind some larger plants. Next, I set up the pump and fed the hose into the barrel. I had waited a while between steps, so I had to scoop some gunk out of the barrel first. I cut this PVC pipe into the 3 parts I'll need: the intake pipe, which feeds into the bottom, the drainage valve, and the overflow, which flows back into the pond. With the help of some hand soap, I squeezed the pipes into the seals. I started by adding the first layer of filter media, large bricks and rocks. There's more open space at the bottom of the filter to allow solids from the pond to accumulate and not clog up the gravel. From there, they can be washed out via the drainage valve. Once a few were in place, I added the intake pipe. I tested that it actually worked and then kept adding bricks to secure it in place. Next, I added a few layers of medium-sized rocks, which serve as a barrier between the open space at the bottom and the gravel at the top. And then finally, a few bags of gravel. I washed out the barrel with a hose to clean the gravel and rocks, and then tested out the drainage valve. I set up the overflow, which required some extra pieces to fit into the smaller hosing I had on hand. Finally, I tested the whole system, piping water into the bottom and making sure it flowed back out into the pond at the same rate. Success! I skimmed out the pond some more and added some rocks around the pump to try to keep it from getting clogged. I bought some shallow-rooted pond plants online to add into the top of the filter. The roots were rootsy and I didn't want that in the pond, so I washed them off first. So, did this work? I think the water looks a little cleaner, but it's only been a week or so, and I think the bacteria takes time to get established. The barrel is also a bit small relative to the size of the pond. I may also need to try a lower flow pump, so the water spends more time in the barrel getting cleaned. Regardless, I'll be curious to see if this prevents algae blooms in the future. I'll also be making a longer video about the full timeline of the pond next year. Thanks for watching. Bye.